May the Force.
Force. The Force.
Force. Force.
Force.
The Force will be with you. Always.
Welcome to Star Wars Uplink, your source for everything Star Wars gaming. Welcome to Star Wars Uplink. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sydney Laurel. How are you doing?
Hello.
Today is a very special day, meaning not if you're listening to the audio version, but you do have another avenue to take part in the Star Wars Uplink podcast. We are actually videoing this episode of the Star Wars Uplink podcast, and if all goes well, we plan to continue doing that for the show as well. Previously on YouTube, we were just posting the show with gameplay in the background, but now you can see our lovely faces as we discuss Star Wars games, video games, movies, TV shows, all the things. So yeah, I'm super pumped. This is exciting. It's been something that I've had in the back of my mind. I mean, I mentioned this to you months ago. It's like, hey, I think this could be cool. What do you think? So here we are. We're doing it. We're live. Not live, but we are in a studio.
Feels as live as it gets.
As live as it gets so far. We don't have the equipment necessary for the quality that I would have liked to do a live show. So we're doing it this way. 4K goodness on my big cinema camera. And I'm excited. But in this episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about the leaked gameplay of Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Someone leaked 44 minutes of gameplay.
It's madness.
44 minutes. So from what I've heard, actually, this is what we're going to be talking about in the podcast. So let's jump right into it.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
So what I've heard is the game is starting to go into NDAs for people to start reviewing the game. Apparently, some naughty NDA people have decided to free this gameplay and show it to the masses.
Tut tut. Slap their wrist.
Now, there's always that dichotomy of feelings that I have around leaks, rumors, and all that fun stuff. As a consumer, I love it. Give me all the details. I don't care. But there are hardworking people behind all of this. And there is that side of things that you're like, oh, hey, that's kind of disappointing from their perspective. But we're not here to talk about their perspective because we are not developers. We are consumers of this game. We're super excited about it. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it does kind of ruin some of the surprise of booting it up for the first time without ever seeing it before, but they have gameplay trailers. They have all that stuff. We saw a 15-minute deep dive into the Hogwarts Legacy game, and I loved it, and I'd love to see something like that. So I think it's fine. This looks to be, from what I've gathered, this does not look to be someone who actually had the game and played through it. This is very scripted. This is very to the key. You're doing things like they want you to do it. So probably from what I would gather, this is a pre-recorded 45-minute segment that they have given to preview writers to start to promote the game. That would be my theory of it, because it's very well planned out. It's very by the books playing. If this was a reviewer, no way would it be this smooth. You wouldn't be slowly panning through the gameplay.
Yeah, it's true. It felt very much like they knew exactly where they were supposed to go, what they were supposed to do. They weren't even waiting for necessarily the voice cues and stuff. They knew where to go and what to hit and what. So
exactly, they aren't exploring anything at all, and that's what reviewers are doing. They want to get the most exposure to the game to properly review it and show the best and the worst of the game to say, hey, do you want to play this game? Do you want to buy this game? Here are the good things, here are the bad things. There wasn't necessarily anything visually wrong with that game.
Right, yeah.
I know a lot of people beforehand with this game, they were like, yo, the frame rates are really weird. What the heck's going on there? It's because it's a Lego game.
Mm-hmm.
This is the style of cinematics that Lego wants to go forward with. It's that stop motion, so they are missing frames. It's very intentional, but the gameplay itself looks very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't have any indicators of what this was played on. We don't have anything like that.
Right.
So.
But yeah, the person definitely seemed very comfortable with the controls and with the fighting styles and stuff. So
Exactly.
it's like, okay, this is very purposeful or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's definitely not how I or you would play it.
Exactly.
So
That is for sure.
yeah, it's like, wait, I'm pretty sure there was like several corridors you missed and you should have gone down.
Exactly.
Get the coins! Ah!
Yeah, so like you didn't really grow up with Lego games.
Mm-mm.
That wasn't your jam.
No.
You're mostly playing PC, Xbox games,
Yep.
and by the time those games really started out, like you had older siblings that moved on to other games that you were playing with them. So that experience is a little bit different for you, but we recently hopped in to Lego Lord of the Rings that I still think is the best Lego game ever. We'll see if this game actually steals that title.
That'll be interesting.
But
it doesn't seem like there's a, what is it? That middle room, like where you go into.
yeah,
It
the
doesn't-
open world
yeah.
aspect of it.
It doesn't feel like there's that lobby necessarily, other than like choosing your.
Yeah, I think that's
Like
going to
they
be interesting
usually
too. I think we're going to have those hub worlds. I think once you start completing those levels, you're going to open a opportunity to go through those hub worlds, because we saw gameplay that was like, it looked like a hub world of Coruscant. It looked like that open world aspect, and Dinko, part of the Uplink family here, he shared a clip in there of like riding in a Rancor, and it's much later. I think it's like 35-minute mark on that gameplay trailer, and you're riding a Rancor, and it looks to be an open world area on Tatooine.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think once you start completing these things, you're going to be able to go to those hub worlds.
Was it a Rancor or a Bantha?
It was a Rancor.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Rancor.
Fun.
So that's going to be fun. And then another thing too is in the little first section of this gameplay that we saw, you see the level selector. More than likely, you're going to have a menu. You click through, start game, load game, whatever, settings, all that fun stuff, credits. And then you open up. And maybe this is the way that you start to select. Maybe you go through in that hub world. You go to the center console, you click through, and you start to select those in that round table.
Right.
Maybe it's like Dex's Diner or something. I would imagine there's something along those lines. And then as they were swiping through, it's really cool. These circles have like this stop motion scenes of very iconic stuff. Like there's on Attack of the Clones, it's Obi-Wan fighting Jango, and then this huge wave of water made out of Lego studs comes over. Gorgeous.
That was so impressive. I was like, oh, like I couldn't.
I wanted it to go longer because it swept over and then they moved away. I was like, no.
We're just gonna sit there for the first 30 minutes we open the game and just be like watching these things go
Exactly.
over and over again.
Yeah, so like there's that aspect of it, but on that like rotation there was a blank one.
Yes, I noticed that.
So I don't know if that's
that
a
like
selector of a hub world, if it is maybe, because they have confirmed that there are going to be DLC, I believe. I think we're going to get Mandalorian DLC, Ahsoka DLC. I think so. I think they have confirmed that they will be having some manner of DLC there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just there for when the content is ready, they will add
Maybe.
it to it.
Maybe. I mean, that's just speculation, theorizing. It could just be, hey,
seems
click
like-
on this to exit it.
Right. It seems like they could just expand it later on, and that's just some sort of
Safe zone.
place that you unlock later on, or once
Yeah.
you get to a certain level or something. I don't know. Could be interesting.
I'm really excited for
Very
it.
fascinated by that.
That looks so cool. Just like the way to show which movie you're on. Obviously, it has the name of it.
So artistic.
It is. And like that just shows how much they're embracing the Lego aspect of it,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah. Kudos to them for that little thing. But even that just shows like, oh man, this is just going to be all throughout it. Like you just know this is going to be full of artistic moments with Lego.
Exactly. And like even the interiors of the tent of 4, glistening. The floor made up of Lego bricks. The walls are made up of Lego bricks. The ceilings, everything is Lego brick.
It feels like you are in a Lego ship.
Yes.
Like no questions asked.
Yeah,
like
like-
this is all Lego. Which
What-
is it's not something that I would have picked up on because I haven't played through most of the Lego games, but recalling the little that I have seen, it's like, oh no, this makes sense. Like that would be so novel. Like that, it seems like it's such an obvious thing. Like no, everything should be made out of Lego because this is the Lego movie.
Yeah.
Or Lego game. But it's true. It's not usually how it is. Usually there's like some muted, I don't know. I think of like the outside world stuff where they're like smooth and there's ground and yeah.
So that's it's super cool that they are incorporating that, and like just looking back at some of our experiences with Lego Lord of the Rings, there's very little that is actually made of Lego, so it stands out a lot. But they're slowly but surely pushing that, and they've said they've got like 26,000 different custom and unique assets that they're bringing into this game.
Crazy.
That they like the exteriors are actually stuff that they ported in using Lego bricks, which is just freaking awesome.
Yeah. Crazy.
Like I'm so pumped about this.
I'm just ready for you to play through it so that I can just sit there and look at it.
Yeah.
I'm not even worried. I know what the stories are. Just let me see it. I just want to.
I'm asleep, and then you
Yep. I'm just running
boot it up
around.
in your Xbox. I wake up in the middle of the night. It's 3 a.m. You're still looking at different experiences in the Lego game.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about this. I'm super pumped. A couple notes. The voice acting, both of us are like, huh.
Yeah.
It took us by surprise for sure.
Yeah, because obviously you can't get Carrie Fisher to voice new lines, but yeah, I think they probably did the best thing for it.
Yeah.
To just cast someone new.
I wonder too if these are actual voice actors. I think some of them are for sure, but I think a lot of the background ones are just people that are at Traveler's Tales, because some of them are like, yeah, you're not very seasoned.
Oh, yeah, I
like
get
you can
that.
tell,
Yeah.
at least I can,
Yeah.
that like, okay, I can see here that this person does not have a whole lot of experience.
Yep. Yeah, definitely more of a... It's true, like when voice acting is quite a skill.
It is.
And you can tell when someone is not that great at it.
Or very confident, maybe
Yeah.
not very seasoned. They don't have that experience with it. They don't know how to emote very well.
Right.
I think overall very good for not being the people.
Yeah.
Like there, I don't know if it's James Earl Jones. I highly doubt that it is, but maybe. But there's certain... The reason I question it is certain phrases that Vader was saying in there. It was like, this guy's really close.
Yeah.
So I think he was definitely someone, like, you have to pay for the big names. But like the Rebel guys, people in the background, I don't think they're necessarily doing that.
Yeah. But that's fair.
Yeah. And then just another stop in something that I noticed land. The UI is very, very prominent. Like it fills so much of the screen. So I hope that it starts. I think there are moments of it too that were like, it seemed like the UI would pull away as they're going through some of these things.
Yeah.
So I hope that that is one of those things that they are more aware of. And because it's a lot. There's a lot going on. They're adding a whole lot of stuff to the
It's
Lego
true.
formula.
Honestly, I was having trouble. I'm like, where is her health bar? Like, because we're going through.
That's
the first
true.
thing
Yeah.
Is you're playing as Leia, or they are playing as Leia. So we're watching her go through and stuff. And I'm like, because usually it's just like the little hearts up at the top, right? that go down as they get shot or whatever.
Yeah, so you have the character icon in the upper left-hand corner, and then
Right.
you have their name, and then there's usually hearts.
Right, and it wasn't there. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on? Where do I look? What am I
Yeah.
supposed to be like? What is that? What is that?
Uh-huh.
So I was, the UI was a little overwhelming for sure.
Mhm.
I didn't think it was too like distracting or
Yeah, I don't think so,
in the
but it's
way.
leaning towards that
yeah,
for sure.
it's getting closer.
There's a lot of information they're trying to portray.
Mm-hmm.
There's the different abilities. They now have combos in the game. The combat looks really solid.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I was impressed
Mhm.
when she did the whole like.
Yeah, the grapple.
Yeah, the grapple thing, and she punched the guy. I was impressed that they had like I don't know. I'm easily impressed, I guess. Just that there was both like how easily it seemed that they could switch from just punching someone to shooting someone.
hmm Yeah, it did seem very fluid.
Did it seem like the punching was more effective than the shooting?
It did, yeah.
So that'll be interesting.
Mhm.
Interesting that's.
I noticed too the person that was playing through this, they were aiming towards their feet more than they were their head or their upper body section. Like they would
interesting.
specifically like they'd have a perfect shot for their head and then they'd aim down towards the feet.
Interesting.
So I don't know if that was an intentional thing, like if you do get more XP credits or whatever.
Right. Or if they were just trying to make the scene last longer or something.
Yeah. But they're taking some hits. Like,
yeah, they were.
I don't think ever before in like a Lego game, at least the ones that I've played. I haven't played like Incredibles 2 or many of the like the more recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's the case there, but the enemies like they take some hits.
Yeah.
It took like 5 or 6 times to actually like do some damage
them
and get them down.
These were not your typical stormtroopers.
No. The armor was effective. Dang
Yeah.
it.
And they could aim. They were hitting him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when you do shoot them, they have like a little bit of a stun animation too.
Mm-hmm.
So they're adding a lot of fun things to the formula that we know of like Lego games.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm really looking forward to. Like there's so much here.
I know. And that was just, I mean, we'd only watched 10, 15 minutes of the whole thing. So there's definitely a lot more to explore.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad we didn't watch the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
because I want to save it.
Yeah,
And
that's
savor
the
it.
thing too. Before we started recording here, I was like, I'm really torn. I want to watch the whole thing, but I also don't want to, so I can have that experience of like I'm playing through it.
Yeah.
Because they do hop to some of the different games or the different eras as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm fine with A New Hope. That's my favorite movie in the series.
Yeah.
I know it back to front. I can quote pretty much the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like, so I was fine with seeing that, and I'm really glad that they started with that. And as well as like a couple months ago, I started playing through the Lego Star Wars 2 game, which is the original trilogy.
Yeah.
The first one was the prequels, which I still want to find how to play that game because I can't find it. Like you can't like download it. You have to.
Oh.
It's not on backwards compatibility that I am aware of. If it is, let me know. I would love to find out. Maybe I just get it for GameCube because I do have the GameCube or Xbox. We have the original Xbox and it came out for that too.
Yeah.
So just depending on which one's cheaper maybe.
Yeah.
Because like freaking GameCube games are so expensive. I got given a friend of mine's old GameCube. He was cleaning out his house, and he's like, "Hey, I know you like this. I've got a box of stuff. I need to put them up here. I've got a box of stuff that I really think you're gonna love. Tons of 1995 Star Wars figurines that we're gonna put in the background. It is a great year. So this top shelf is gonna be all old 1995 Lego Star Wars figurines, but also in that box was a GameCube, and like my mind was blown because like
He was so excited.
Stupidly, in like 2011, 2012, we sold our original GameCube that we had since it came out.
How dare you?
In a garage sale. I'm so mad. I think we sold it for like $30 too.
Wow.
So if there was like only one moment that I could go back in time to change, I would go back to that moment and I would purchase it from myself. We had the purple one. It was great.
Gosh. It probably was you from the future buying that.
I hope so. 2077.
Oh my god. Yep.
Time travel has been created, and I go back in time. I only have one pass because it's so expensive. I go back to that one moment.
You bring $30 with you.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's great. Any other things that, like, you as someone who didn't really play those games growing up that you noticed?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned like the whole, like, you were glad to see the first New Hope. Because I feel like yeah, we've seen this before. Yeah. So it's nice to see it in a new way. The other thing, I think the really only thing that stands out to me, first of all, I'm always surprised with the depth of the story that they end up like leeching out of these things.
Yeah, because they need it to last an entire level.
Right, yeah. So it's like, wow, look at all the stuff that they're adding to this to be able to stretch it out. It always throws me off for some reason. I don't know why.
This isn't how it goes.
Yeah.
I always have to fight that too.
Yeah. But I would say just the whole, like, the new mechanisms, because usually like they're like those packs that you find and stuff.
The mini kits.
Yeah, the mini kits, and I guess it's different in that way. Like that's not the traditional, at least from what I've experienced of the Lego games. It's like, oh no, they're doing something very different here with, I don't know, grappling hooks, being able to pull things, and they're definitely expanding that back catalog. They're bringing it forward. They're adding some new things and flavor and spice to it. Yeah. And maybe it's because the person wasn't excited or like really trying to get the bits. Is that, what are they called? The studs. The studs. Yeah, the studs. Yeah, it's almost like there isn't as much of an emphasis on the studs this time. So, like, for all of you listening or watching, when we played Lego Lord of the Rings... Yeah, let's clarify. Like, there were moments where I'd like, Sydney, get the studs! Yeah, exactly. There's so much stress around getting the studs. Yeah. Or even like when we're in the open world. What is it called when you get the whole... It's, in Star Wars, it's True Jedi. Oh. You're always trying to get to that True Jedi moment. And we're in the hub world where you're going through Middle Earth and you're not in like a level. Sydney's over there like beating all the bushes and... Yeah. Because I gotta beat you with the studs. I must have the most studs. That's always the competition too. Is like who has the most studs after the game ends. So yeah, it's a fun thing, and I think that's really cool to see them take that even further. We're looking forward to see the replayability because like we did see one moment there where they had the opportunity to build something on the left or build something on the right. Left, it seemed like a bomb to explode the door, and right, it was the way to like douse the water. Yeah. So I think that's something that they're bringing forward, that idea of a Lego game as well. Oh, I didn't catch that. Yeah, and that's something they introduced, I think, in Lego The Force Awakens, is you can get to these hubs to build things, and you have selections. Like you have this array of materials, and you have a choice between, do I want to make this big weapon? Do I want to make this cart? Do I want to do this thing? Like, what are the things that I want to build to properly go through this level in the way that I want to? Right. So even giving you a little bit more of that choice. I don't like choices. Just let me... Just give me the thing I need to do. So many games now are like, find your own way, and I don't want to find my own. Yeah, just give me a game that I can just go. I just want to go. I mean, we've talked about this before. I'm a little bit burned out on like open world games a little bit because I do like, sometimes I just don't want to make those decisions. Right. I'm making decisions every day about like design and all of like video editing. Like when I get home and play, in the morning. Yeah, like I usually figure that out beforehand. Oh, yeah. Well, good for you. Are you still making that the night before? Exactly. Like so. I want you to guide me through a story that's hand selected that I can enjoy. Yep. Sometimes I do want that open world, but mostly just to run through and mess around. Yeah, exactly. Not actually follow the story. Yeah, exactly. But with that, we're gonna take a little bit of a break. We're gonna come back and talk about some news around a new Star Wars movie. What?
This podcast is a production of Uplink Media Group.
Uplink is a podcast network dedicated to highlighting the love and experience of gaming and pop culture. Check out our other shows, The Battlefield Show, Star Wars Uplink, and The Forge, the Halo Infinite podcast, as well as our YouTube channels for even deeper dives into Battlefield, Star Wars, and more. YouTube.com/Uplink podcast and StarWarsUplink.com.
Only different in your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Okay. So, yesterday night, that seems so wild that was yesterday. We're out walking. We had just finished celebrating St. Patrick's Day with some Reuben sandwiches, homemade corned beef, and homemade Thousand Island dressing. So good. Homemade potato wedges.
Homemade everything.
Pretty much. I didn't make the bread or the sauerkraut, but I'd made everything else.
True.
So we took a break. We were walking. And my brother and my cousin pull up because we live next door to each other. And he's like, "Hey, did you hear the news about the Lost guy making a Star Wars movie?" I was like, "No, what are you talking about?"
Yeah.
I was like, "J.J. Abrams? He already made one and they sucked."
Oh, no.
But Damon Lindelof, who was one of the co-creators and producers on Lost, also creator of the Watchmen TV show that came out in 2019. According to this gentleman's sources, we're getting a new Star Wars movie from this guy.
How do you feel about that?
I'm torn. I'm torn. In the Star Wars world, there's one thing... there's two challenges. One, announcing the Star Wars film or Star Wars thing that seems way easier than it should be. And then there's the actual challenge of it actually coming out.
Yeah, that's true.
So every time I see a Star Wars announcement, I expect it never to come out. And I'm usually better off for that mentally.
Yep. Yeah, it definitely came out as a shock, being like, what? Like, it feels like we just got the last trilogy thing and now they're talking about another movie. Like, I'm confused and I have no idea what it would be about.
Yeah, and they've announced that Taika Waititi is going to have a Star Wars movie. They announced that a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
They announced that Rian Johnson's going to have an entire trilogy,
what?
which I'd be super happy for. We haven't heard anything else for that. We've heard that the co-creators or directors, people involved in Game of Thrones, the show, the showrunners for that are working on a Star Wars movie or trilogy. So they've thrown around so many different things announcements in regards to a possible Star Wars
So how do we
thing.
know what is true?
Exactly.
Ugh.
Or when they're ever going to come out. Because that's the other thing too, is there's one thing to announce it, there's another thing to release it, and then there's a whole other thing of the timeline of it. When is it actually going to come out? Is it going to be a TV show? Is it going to be a movie?
Yep.
I expect we're going to see those broader, more explosive, bombastic shows of effects and these really huge storylines in the movies, which I wish they wouldn't do. Because they're corrupting the TV shows with that already. I really want those standalone movies, those features that are okay, here's a beginning, middle, and an end. It doesn't have to tie into anything really. It may be set on this time frame that the other movies are in. It may involve the outskirts of certain characters, but what I love most about Rogue One is we had these new characters. Yes, we had some of those cameos. We had Leia, we had Tarkin, but it was mostly focused on Rogue One. And these new characters and Krennic. Those were that was the whole thing. It is moving forward the story of this is how the Death Star plans were made.
Right.
But it didn't have that huge tie-in to, oh, we have to have Luke in here and we have to have Ahsoka in here and we have to have this, that, and blah, blah, blah. Everything's got to tie in together. It's got to be this huge thing. And Book of Boba Fett failed miserably because it wasn't a Boba Fett show.
Exactly.
It was everything else because they really want this it like
because they want to feel like Star Wars, and it's not Star Wars without some big character or something. I guess I don't know.
But like some of the best books, I'm thinking like Lost Stars by Claudia Gray. It's a standalone teen romance book. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Corey over at Utini, friend of the podcast, like that, I think that's his favorite of the Star Wars books.
Wow.
And it's a lot of other people's favorites as well.
Yeah, I know. They just something about Disney having these things. And maybe it's not Disney. Maybe it's just, I don't know.
I think it's just Hollywood in general.
Yeah,
You can make that generalization for sure.
It just seems like they're very narrow-minded right now as far as what Star Wars should be.
Yeah.
We were talking with, because obviously the conversation with the cousin did not end with, hey, did you hear about this rumor?
And they walk away.
Yeah. No, bye. No, it did not end there. We were talking about how someone was trying to make a Star Wars film, I think, that was darker.
No, it was Kenobi.
Oh, it was Kenobi. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Kenobi was supposed to be darker. But then they came in and were like, nah, it's gotta be.
Yo, calm it down.
Like,
that's my Kathleen Kennedy impression.
Oh, okay.
Because she, like, some of the early drafts of the story and all of that stuff were very depressing. And like, I want to feel depressed from this show because that's where the galaxy is.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a good time for the galaxy. Like, it's not good. I don't care what your expectations of Star Wars should be happy. Like, then don't make a Kenobi show after Order 66 because it's not going to be happy.
He's alone and everyone died and they're being hunted.
His religion that he was brought up an entire life, it's gone.
So please don't make this a happy show. Like,
yeah.
And I want to see that. Like, I want to see people being able to have this artistic and creative freedom.
Yeah.
So it's discouraging when I hear stuff like that. And it makes me very concerned about any other rumors about other people having these things. It's interesting, though, with this guy, though, because he's done The Watchmen.
Yep, Watchmen, Lost. I mean,
yeah. And those are...
what's hilarious, too, is we've been rewatching Lost. We're on season 3.
It's my first to go through. So
it is, yeah. And
it's not a rewatch for me.
Yeah.
That's why we're watching it.
Exactly.
Because I haven't watched it.
This is probably like my 7th time watching the show.
Yeah, but those are all pretty heavy.
They are. And they're very grounded. They're very character-based. Yeah, you're on an island, but like the intricacies of the relationships between these people.
The island itself is a character, and so
all of the mystery around it. I mean, Watchmen is hugely
probably the
renowned.
Same.
Like,
I've only seen a couple of episodes. I think I saw like the first 2. So.
Yeah, I mean, but like the Watchmen, just the source material itself, and then to be able to adapt that into a TV show and have these very grounded experiences and stories that are told through these superheroes, and like it's pretty cool. I think he is the person that could bring that. Yeah. But again, too, like historically, Gareth Edwards, who did Rogue One, had some creative differences, and I think too, like he was almost about to step away from Rogue One. You look at Solo, Star Wars story was originally directed by Lord and Miller, who did 21 Jump Street, the Lego movie. They were originally going to direct that.
Oh, wow.
Then there was Colin Trevorrow, who was going to do Episode 9 Star Wars, and he got axed. So, like, just because you say you're going to do a Star Wars movie doesn't mean you're going to make it all the way through. Yeah, Star Wars changes you, man. It's like Gandalf. I can promise this: you won't be the same Hobbit you were when you started this journey.
You will not come back the same.
But yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. And in the article, comes from the Ankler. They say, I would certainly, in an interview, he said, I would certainly never say no in regards to if he would be interested in a Star Wars show, in a response to a direction or interview after directing Tomorrowland, or being involved in that. He says, whether Tomorrowland succeeds or fails, I'm committed to a space of trying to make something more original. One that doesn't come with the intense focus of Lindelof, don't F this up. 2, if it's an original piece, he screwed up his own thing, or screwed up my own thing, which I've also been accused of, mind you, but it wouldn't be immensely distracting to the fans for my name to be involved in the franchise at this stage. So that's good. Like he said, yeah, I would never say no. I do want to offer something original. I want to make sure that it is something that, if it is crappy, it's something that it's because of me and the decisions I made versus the actual overarching themes or something like that.
He's not looking to ruin Star Wars for everyone. He's just looking to make something new.
Yeah.
That if
Which
we don't
is what
like
we
it,
need.
yeah, it is. We need a fresh take on Star Wars.
Yeah, because it's getting stale. Like whether you love it or hate it, the Fantastic Beasts series is definitely doing something new for the franchise. I love the first movie. I really enjoy some of the moments and some of the aspects of the second one.
Yeah.
It is like all over the place.
Yeah.
But I'm super pumped for the third one. And they're doing something different, which is always cool. Like I have no idea what they're going to be doing next. But like with anything Star Wars, it's like, oh, they're going to have this character moment. They're going to have this, and this.
Yep. What big name are they throwing in this time?
What Clone Wars character are they going to bring in? Yeah.
What
are they going to bring
makeup?
Palpatine back again?
Yeah. Not again.
Somehow he returned. But yeah.
Gosh. I'm pretty sure I would just throw my hands up if they came a third
Oh,
time.
I would quit
Be
Star
like,
Wars.
Just stop. Just no. It's done. It's clearly too old now.
Yeah. You've run out of any motivation to have new ideas or tell new stories if you bring back Palpatine again.
It's beyond beating a dead horse.
You were already out there and out of new stories when you brought him back the first time. But yeah. But I'm excited. I'm always interested to see new, different faces in Star Wars, and hopefully they are dedicated to having those new original stories and telling those. I want some more personal stuff with Star Wars, like those very character-driven stuff.
Yeah.
And characters that we care about, because that's something that, like, Rogue One, Jyn Erso, like, didn't have a whole lot of flavor to her. But always the surrounding characters that added so much to that story. Trid Imwe, a K2SO.
Yeah.
So, like, I think there's a lot there. But I think with that, thank you all so much for listening to this episode of Star Wars Uplink. We greatly appreciate your support. And if you're listening to this podcast, we greatly appreciate you listening to it. And if you're watching it, thank you so much for joining us and checking out the podcast for our little discussion on Star Wars video games, movies, TV shows, all the things, galaxy far, far away. And we'll see you next time. Make sure if you did enjoy this podcast to leave a review. Greatly appreciate it. Helps us out a ton. Follow us on Twitter at Star Wars Uplink. And as always, may the Force be with you.